Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is HOTS, and this is going to be another commentary. I've actually shown the starting screen this time, and you can see it's between a Zerg and a Protoss player, and the Zerg looks like Platinum. It's not Masters. Masters looks like that, but it's not more blue, so we'll say Platinum. And between our Terran player, who looks like he's unranked, but he's a fairly high level, so I'm guessing that a higher level means more skill. Of course it doesn't, but let's just go with it for this game and let's just see how it turns out. So the bottom left, our Zerg player is MacArthur, and actually he's part of a clan, which means technically that he should be of a higher skill, because of course, as we all know, the higher skilled players are the ones who get into the clans, and people who aren't in clans are basically, they didn't get in not because they weren't good enough. Well, actually, that's why they didn't get in, because they're not good enough. It's not because they couldn't find a class, it's because they're not good enough. And they do appear to be speaking language other than English. So, yeah. Alright, yep, cool, whatever. For anybody's information, I'm in Australia, so we do speak some sort of English over here. And it's good enough to work off. So, as I said, top right is Chaka, and he's Protoss. So it's the fourth game I've cast, and they've all had Zerg in them so far, and it's been a lot of fun. So we'll see how this game goes. Production tab, there we go. No, actually that's pretty interesting. Forge first. I downloaded this map a random off a site. It looked like a pretty good map, but unfortunately it doesn't tell you 30 minutes long, so I have not just started a doopy cannon rush map that ends in 3 minutes, which I'm sure everybody will be happy about. Actually, it looks like he's just doing so cannon for some defense, maybe going in hard macro off off one base, and then see if you can push out the Zerg that way. Unfortunately, it's not really that good to go hard macro against a Zerg, because unless you are sure they're going spawning pool first, and in fact this guy is going spawning pool first, so maybe he can make something happen with a fast Zealot. Like, I don't know. This is probably a fast macro build, building up a cannon so we can pump out workers faster, but I'm going to be completely honest here. I have no idea why this is a good build. I'm sure it's a good build for some reason, and I'm sure there's something he can go into. Maybe it's fast Stargate, or maybe it's an expansion in the middle on the gold. Why not? He can probably build a few cannons up here and get minerals to his heart's content. Yeah, this isn't really a build, so to speak. This is just well, this sounds like a good idea, let's give it a shot and see how it works, and maybe it'll pay off big. Maybe in 2 or 3 minutes he'll have Zealots coming out of his ass and he'll just overwhelm everything. Maybe two Zerglings will come down here and just wipe the whole place out. Well, probably not, because there's cannons, but I mean, it's very hard to tell with these sort of situations. But of course, the good thing about watching a commentary is that all you have to do is sit back and relax and just watch, and unless your internet fails and you can't get back on, it's pretty much guaranteed that you're eventually going to find out what happens in this game. So we'll have a look. There's 2 Zerglings coming up. They're going to get pretty much fried. You could do a sort of run around here, but there's so many cannons all over the place, so I don't think he's going to last very long. And, I mean, the Zergling's going to look around and he's going to say, alright, there's cannons in the main base. This is, there we go. There's the WTF. So, here, it makes me feel a little bit better to know that the Zerg player is currently as confused as I am. So there's a Protoss view, and there's the Zerg's view. He moved his Overlord right through here, but that was before the Nexus started being expanded. So he does not have a clue what is going on with this Nexus. And I just noticed the rally point, actually. Is he rallying all these Zerglings. Where are they going? He's going for some sort of Zergling push. Maybe push in there. I don't know why he would with cannons, because with cannons, it's... Let's just have a look at the vision here. My god, would you look at that? It's just beautiful. The Zerglings go straight up there around the other side. Completely miss this entire thing. So the Protoss is just going to be... I don't know what these Zerglings are doing. Maybe they're going in for a better scout. Maybe they figured, oh, there's cannons, so there can't be units. So let's try to find a hole and do some damage. And he will be able to. I mean, this cybernetics core is open. The drones on, the probes on the top half are open. But of course, this isn't really the workers that he needs to take out. He needs to take out these workers down here, because these are the ones that are making the real money. But he still doesn't know that. So he's going to go in here. He's going to do some damage. Force a couple more cannons, maybe force an actual unit, but that's probably going to take too long. And meanwhile, the Zerg player, he's doing a pretty good job macroing as well. He's doing pretty well. He's pumping out a lot of Zerglings, and he's going for the max upgrades route. So an Evo chamber, he's not building him to gate off, he's building him in the middle of the base, so he intends for the upgrades to go through and completely finish. So he's looking to push against the Protoss's push. He's saying, alright, I got the Protoss in one base, I'm just going to keep hammering him, get some upgrades, and eventually I'll stop him from expanding. It's going to be beautiful. But now he sees the gold expansion, and he's got to be thinking, oh crap. But on the other hand, the Protoss has no units. I mean, if we look at the units count, he's got probes and that's it. So these cannons are not going to help him forever. And the fact is, these cannons are being hooked up by well, it depends if he gets these pylons up. I mean, we'll see how he goes, but I can't see this. I mean, cannons against actual units, they can work sometimes if you haven't got much, but if the Zerg starts pushing out and really attacking, I mean, these cannons don't last that long. So what do we got? We got two more photo cannons up here. He's got a total of 2 pylons powering all these cannons. But yeah, he's going for fast void rays, and this should be good actually, because the Zerg has gone for a fairly smart route. He's going to get up a crap load of roaches. Roaches should be able to wipe these cannons out, no problems, but he doesn't. Well, he does now. The Void Ray has gone ahead and revealed itself by killing that Overlord, so he knows about the... excuse me. Still digesting lunch a little bit. I think I'm on the verge of hiccups, but it's that feeling in the back of your throat where you're not quite sure. So I'll just... if I start to hiccup, I'll just turn off the mic and maybe I'll chat in the spectator chat or something like that. And cast the rest of the game like that. But we'll see how the rest of this game goes. He's getting a Hydra Den, he's getting a couple of Spore Crawlers up here. He's already got a couple at the main base. He's building more Queens as well. So I don't think that this this Zerg player is going to be too worried about the Void Rays. And they're good when you're not expecting them. When you are expecting them as a Zerg, then you can deal with them until they get in massive numbers. Like you're talking about 6-7 Void Rays, they can start doing some major damage, and it looks like the Protoss might get up to that number. But by then, I'm hoping the Zerg will have started producing some Hydras. So where are the Hydras coming out? If he gets a bit better creep spread, yeah, I'd like to see him work on his creep spread a little bit, because Hydras are great at defending Void Rays, but you need to be fast. You need to be able to get from one base to the other lickety split. And the Spore Crawlers are good, and they will deflect the Void Rays to some level, but like I said, 6 or 7 Void Rays that take out a Spore Crawler fairly fast, like in a matter of seconds. However, the Roach is going in here, trying to do some damage. There's the cannon population here is Still a bit too hard though, and the Void Rays are on them, so it's not that good. I think if the Void Rays hadn't shown up, he may have been able to do something. Maybe pushed along to the right hand side, took out this cannon and just wreaked havoc on the probes. But unfortunately, these roaches obviously weren't meant to swing the game much in either direction. So they're gone, and we'll just have to live with the rest of the units that are in the game. Now there's a fairly large amount of Hydras on the way, and if we look at the units, the Protoss hasn't built any ground army at all. So he hasn't got anything to counter the Hydras. Void Rays are just a joke against Hydras. They just fall out of the sky like nothing. So the Hydras go in here. I can't say for sure whether cannons are that good against Hydras. I suppose they're alright, but this many Hydras, they'll just wipe them out. However, he's not going for the Nexus down here. He's going for the main base. Now if I look at his vision, I can only assume that he thinks the Stargates are up there, and that's why he's attacking, because if he thought the Stargates were in there, I would bet whatever little amount of money I have that he would go for the center base. Take out the Stargates. He does know about the Stargates. You know there's 2 Stargates in there, so... Okay, that's very weird. Am I missing something? Or did those Void Rays just take out half the Hydralisks? He's reaching a critical mass in terms of the number of Void Rays he has, and once he starts to reach more and more Void Rays, once he reaches the very scary Protoss Death Ball with his Void Rays and with this carrier, the Zerg's not going to be that good. He's building a lot of Hydralisks. He needs to get them out there. He needs to get them into a favourable position somewhere on this area, because obviously if he fights them at the place where there's cannons, that's bad. So he needs to find out where they are, and this is good. He needs to move up. He needs to snipe that carrier, and it's got to move away. Come on, snipe the carrier. Can you see it up there? It's on the high ground. Get an Overlord in there. He's going to push out. No, what you can do is you can feed them in, let them chase you a little bit, and then you run straight in and you take them out. Now, these carriers, they've got 1 attack. The Hydras at 2-2. I mean, these upgrades for this guy is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. If he, with this amount of Hydras, he should go in and he should just wipe them out. I mean, you can lose a few Hydras, but he can't lose a few Void Rays. So if he starts taking them out, there goes 1 carrier. That's beautiful. You just keep on taking them out. I might even go for a push as the Zerg right now, because cannons are not going to do anything against these Hydralisks. It's just these guys, and it's all up to where the actual units are. It's all to the position. If the Protoss get a good position, like they are now, then they can hold off the Zerg for quite an amount of time. In open space, the Zerg would just own everything. So he's doing a very good job taking out the air. The Protoss is continuing to go for carriers. He's going to try and amass a large amount. Now, I don't know. I mean, we've never really seen carriers that much used in multiplayer games. I mean, the problem with a carrier is that it'll launch all its interceptors in a single unit, and once it dies, all the interceptors will go back into the carrier, reset, and then when it seeks out a new unit, they'll all jump out again. Now, in the original Starcraft, if you took out a unit, the interceptors wouldn't fly back into the carrier. They'd stay out and they'd go to the next one without having to reset back to the carrier. And that made carriers pretty much unstoppable, because it was just like it was almost like a huge poison cloud just in front of the carrier, just wipe out everything. But this one, it takes about a half a second to kill a Hydralisk from a carrier, but you add in the maybe the second and a half that it takes for the interceptors to get to the Hydra, and then to go back into the carrier, and it's slow. I mean, I don't know if they've changed that, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like the maybe that's because they got out of range or something, but see, this I don't understand. He's moving all the way back in to get to the back of this base, obviously to do some economic damage or something, but... So he must know that he's pretty much mined out here. He must know that there's not going to be a million probes. Maybe he really did think there were stargates up the back, and he was trying to take them out. He's got to have just thought, all right, there's nothing back there. It's all going out. It's all going on in the middle. Maybe that fleet beacon would have been a nice snipe, but he didn't get it. So he's got to look at, and maybe there we go. There's a spy coming down. We might see corruptors going on. Corruptors would pretty much just be awesome at this point. Corruptors would wipe the floor with carriers if he can get about 2 or 3 for each carrier. And in addition to the Hydralisk he's already got, he should be fine. And look at the macro. I mean, actually that's not bad. It's 59 harvesters. He's doing quite well for himself over all these bases. And he's got a 5th one coming out. The Protoss has 54, but I have a feeling. I mean, if you look at his mineral income, there are a lot of... See, look at these probes. They're just doing squat all there. So he's got the harvesters, but he just doesn't have the place to harvest. And this was a brilliant move. He's took it about 7, 8 harvesters, something like that there. And he's pushing the Protoss back. He's making him pay for thinking that he can just build carriers and just ruffle stomp everything. You could do that in the original Starcraft and in Brood War. It's a lot harder to do that in Starcraft 2. And Hydras, if you get under them, carriers just get wiped out. If you get Corruptors, they just get wiped out. So we'll see exactly what happens here. I mean, they're just so slow. You've got creep everywhere, and the carriers are just so slow. So I'm not sure what Chaka is... I mean, he's doing some damage. I'll give him that. He's got this spot scoped out. It's a beautiful spot for attacking the Hydras. They don't have very good vision, so he's got it scoped out, and that's beautiful. And the thing is, Zerg is doing a bit of an attack here, but he's not really going into it. And I'd like to see the Protoss use that against him. I'd like to see where's the vision. See, there's. This is just I mean, fair enough, they're not Masters players, but I mean, he's turtling inside his base. He's turtling inside the middle too, and he's basically saying, alright, I'm going to build up a massive amount of army and then go out there and wipe everything out. But you can't do that. You really can't. I mean, carriers cost a lot, Hydras cost a lot less, and Hydras are just so good at wiping out carriers, and carriers are, I'd have to say, suboptimal at wiping out Hydralisks. So the only reason that the Protoss is holding on here is because he's got the air advantage. The Hydras can't get underneath him, they can't follow him into there, and so his advantage is that he's hiding inside his base, but that's also his disadvantage because the Zerg, look at the amount of bases he's got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the Protoss just isn't scouting them. He needs to scout them, and he needs to start taking them out. And he can't because he's turtling. So, and here comes the Corruptors. And these gold bases, that was a mistake by the Zerg player. That's He needs to just be patient, I guess. I mean, look at this one's already mined out of minerals. This one's getting mined out. The gold is good for fast minerals. It's good for getting a nice boost in the mineral count. It's not good for long-term play. You've got to have, because you run out of these way faster than you run out of normal bases usually, because there's only what 6 per base, so he's going to run out faster. And basically he'll be turtled inside a base with no minerals. He's got this one going, and he's got the Hydralisks sort of stuck in there. But once this corruptor count gets high enough, this advantage, this air advantage, this positioning advantage that the carriers have used so well so far, will be absolutely worthless. Once there's enough corruptors, that advantage is just going to go completely out the window. And it'll just, I don't know if the corruptors themselves will be able to take out the carriers, but the Hydralisks, it's, I don't see the Protoss winning this. Not the way he's currently going. The Zerg has too much map control at the moment. And look at this. You put a bunch of Zerglings in there, all these probes are going to die. And the carriers are just too slow. So it's like if you're a Terran player and you go battle cruisers. I mean, battle cruisers are a great unit. One-on-one, they'll wipe out pretty much anything, but they take 10 minutes to get from one side of the base to the other. If I play in a multiplayer game, 4v4, and I see my ally going battle cruisers, I'm just like, dude, you've got a massive army, but if I get attacked, you're not going to be able to help me. I mean, it gives turtling a whole new meaning, because they're literally just that slow. And look at it, all these probes just get wiped out again. And this is the only mineral patch he's got. He's basically outmaneuvering the Protoss at the moment. And look at the production tab. 23 corruptors, and that's on top of the. Let's see how much they get up to now, because this is going to be huge amounts. So it's still producing. So that's going to be about 40 corruptors, and he's got 13 carriers. Add on to that 16 Hydralisks. It's not too much, but it's enough. I mean, well, let's look at the income tab. See, that's pretty much tells the story. I mean, that much income versus that much income. You see, the Protoss is. This is a major disadvantage of turtling. Unfortunately, these corruptors, they're just. I am going to be so upset if these corruptors do not win this battle, because they had all the advantages, but they're attacking the goddamn interceptors. They're not attacking the carriers. You've got to shift click, carrier, attack, use up waypoints, and he hasn't been doing that. He's just been. It's a case of perfect macro and bad micro. I mean, with the amount of Hydras, he could have grouped them both up and just did shift click, blah 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 blah. He may still have lost, but he would have taken out 6, 7 carriers, something like that. Is yeah, is just beautiful. That Zerg player, I believe he had the game in the bag. He had the macro, he had the units, and it was just the one battle at the end. I'm sorry, I have to go back and I just have to double check and make I want to see what those corruptors are actually doing, because I'm pretty sure they weren't attacking the carriers. I'm pretty sure they were attacking the interceptors. So we'll go back a little bit. That's probably too far back. I'll speed it up a little bit. And we'll see what happens. I sped that up way too far back. That's alright. We can see a nice duke between the Hydralisks and the carriers again. So we'll look at it. So it's 2-0-0. The Hydralisks have 3-2, and the corruptors, how much do they have? 0-0. Okay. So the carriers did have some upgrades. He didn't have too many Hydras, so he couldn't put that advantage to much use. But I still reckon the Zerg should have won that. We'll have a look when it gets back up to it. It's almost there. Alright, there's only 1 minute left, so let's slow it back down. Here comes the final batch of corruptors. Maybe you should have waited for speed. That was only several, maybe 30 seconds over, but that's fine. Let's have a look here. He's corrupt, so carrier's pulling back on the high ground, that's fine. Zerg pulls back a little bit. And that's it. You can kind of see by the projectiles and by these carriers are not going down. Their health is not going down. You see corruptors occasionally shooting at the carriers. This many corruptors, a carrier should go down in 2 volleys. Basically just 2 volleys just go down, and it just didn't happen. you see the corruptors now going in, starting to take some hits, but for the first 15-20 seconds of that fight, they were hitting the interceptors. And they were getting slaughtered, and they weren't even concentrating on the carriers. So I've got to say, basically, Chaka, you went mass carriers. Props to you for getting the middle 2 bases and holding on to them. Is a very, very ballsy move, and you got the cannons up to defend that. And personally, I think you got lucky at the end, because against that many corruptors and that many hydralisks, you really should have lost. And you just went in there, and MacArthur, man, I mean, alright, here's I'm not sure if you know how to do this, but basically you just hold down the shift key, right click, right click, right click. You select all units, hold down shift, right click on the first, right click on the second, right click on the third. It's called attack waypoints. I actually have a tutorial about it somewhere, but I'm not going to plug my tutorial. I'm just saying shift, right click, right click, right click. You select the corruptors and the hydras all at once. They attack the first carrier. When that carrier goes down, they attack the second. That is, if you do an attack move against carriers, you'll attack the interceptors and all your units will die. It's just a sad fact of life. So that's it. I suppose this is the end of the game. It's not often you see a carrier win, but there you are. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I forgot to mention in my last video, but I'll mention it again here, that if you do wish for me to cast a replay, feel free to send me your replay to my email address. Ooh, excuse me. It's xhairymuppetx@yahoo.com.au. I'll post it down in the description. And send me your own replays if you want. Don't send me other people's though. Don't send me like, oh, I got this awesome game off TLO versus White Ra, or whoever the really good players are these days. I'm not saying White Ra and TLO aren't really good, but I'm sure there's some other flavor of the month players right now who are really good. So I can probably find those myself if I want, but I want to see your replays. I want to see your replays, because if you send me replays and I cast them, then you're going to subscribe, and if I get more subscribers, then that makes me happy. So anyway, send me some replays if you want, and I'll catch you guys later, and thanks for watching.